Hey, Whitney here, and welcome to the Passive Investing Made Simple Bootcamp. We do this bootcamp every single month to help you focus on a specific skill in passive investing, specifically in real estate investing, but this can really apply to any sort of passive investing. Now, this month's skill, we're going to focus on how to build your passive investing dream team. But before we dive into today's episode, I want you to know that you're in the right place if you want to learn how to turn your active income and savings into passive income and long-term wealth. Maybe you've tried investing in a passive deal before and couldn't get comfortable making the investment, or you actually invested in a deal before and you're like, oops, I made a mistake, or you just simply want to level up your skills. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, if this is the first time you and I are meeting, again, my name is Whitney Elkins-Hutten. I'm the Director of Investor Education here at PassiveInvesting.com. have been a partner in over 800 million in real estate, and that's on the active side of things, not my passive portfolio. I've flipped a considerable amount of real estate as well. I currently serve as the Director of Investor Education here at PassiveInvesting.com, as well as the founder of AshWealth.com, where I do one-on-one coaching with seasoned and inspiring investors in passive real estate. I'm also the author of the book Money for Tomorrow: How to Build and Protect Generational Wealth. Now, all this is to serve one thing, is how can I get 100% control and choice on how I spend my time? And I love spending my time with my crazy crew. If you're watching the video, you see them here on the screen on one of our last investors. And I also have documented my journey in my book, Money for Tomorrow: How to Build and Protect Generational Wealth, published with Bigger Pockets. Now, again, all that, those vanity metrics that we just went over, is to serve one result in my life. And that is, how can I get 100% choice on how I spend my time? You see, a lot of people are, and maybe you are also really trying to strive for financial independence, even financial freedom. But really, that's just the tool. What will that help you get in your life? And for me, I love diving into the freedom of choice. How can I spend my time? And that leads me to, traveling. It also leads me to creating an impact in the world, which is what I love doing here with you. And we can actually help you do at PassiveInvesting.com, whether it's through our equity investments in multifamily, express car wash, and self-storage, or on the debt side of investing in our PIC Real Estate Debt Fund. We're super proud to now have raised over $430 million in that fund and have funded that into fix and flip real estate. Now, this is my invitation to you. Make sure that you take action on today's materials. Part of that action in building your dream team is getting in contact with high quality operators. So make sure to join me at PassiveInvestingWithWhitney.com. There you'll get priority access to our open deals. You'll get a one-on-one call with me. That way we can discuss your investing goals, as well as additional educational materials and resources. All right, so let's dive into today's topic. Again, all these webinars that I do here are for educational purposes only. They don't serve as financial advice, legal advice, tax advice. So make sure to consult your investing team prior to making any decision. Now, I really look at it that there's, four, potentially five must-have team members on your investing team. Now, one of those is the operator. Either you need to be an amazing operator if you're going to buy active real estate, or you have to learn how to vet other operators. Now, you can go back in on our YouTube channel and you can find additional videos on how to vet operators there. And we'll touch on a little key pieces here today. But now we're going to focus on the other four positions that are a must that should be on your dream team. Now, here's the thing. A lot of investors kind of pause and they don't really, take great attention or skill to building their dream team. Because one, they're like, hey, there's a myth here. I don't have enough money and I don't need a team. Okay. Or that, having a dream team for investing is for like high net worth people only. Okay. Those are two myths. We're going to bust those today. Myth number three, I can just Google the answer, or even worse, I can just use AI for everything. I can ask AI for all my legal advice, tax advice. Here's the thing. AI will openly admit I don't know. Okay. It is a pattern recognition engine at best right now. I do see it being, integral in underwriting in the future, but right now we got to use it with care and caution. Or maybe we over rely on just one team member. I hear often, hey, like my CPA handles all that, or hey, my lawyer handles all that. I don't do anything. Okay. Whereas we need to have complementary, we need to put all the people in the right seat on the bus. We need to lean into their strengths. Okay. And then I'll just follow somebody else's information, like the sponsor's advice, and I'll be fine. And as you know, I opened up today's presentation with, hey, this is just education. Make sure to consult your investing team. Okay, we try to give you the most research, top-notch education in a non-complex manner to where anybody can understand it. Okay, even like maybe your second grader can understand the topic. But here's the thing, you still need personalized advice. Now, I want to let you know, I've been in your shoes. Okay. I committed a tax mistake. Okay. Thinking like, hey, I can do a lot of my tax myself. I can do a lot of Googling and researching. I'll watch a lot of webinars online. I'll just piecemeal all this information together. I'm a smart, scrappy person. I can do this. I'll save myself a few bucks. Here's the thing. When I did that, and I was smart enough to hire a local tax pro who said they knew real estate to review my taxes before they got submitted, they actually weren't that knowledgeable about real estate. And when it comes to like depreciation, they just didn't know how to double check my work. They made a couple edits. Unfortunately, what happened is they ended up taking depreciation on my personal residence. Okay. Now, anybody knows, like we had to go back and fix that mistake. It was 3 years moving forward with the same mistake on my taxes. Then I had to go back and fix it. And that really cost me a lot of money to redo my taxes. But I also had some depreciation recapture in there. So tons of time, tons of money when I could have just invested up front in a knowledgeable tax team to be able to, help me out with my taxes. Okay, so this leads me into why having an investing team is like, have you ever second guessed something or avoided doing something, even like an investment, because you just didn't know who to ask guidance for? Right? It's usually when we have that question staring us right in the face that we realize, oh, I need a who in my life to help me get to the next level, to help me say yes to this investment, to help me file my taxes on time. So we're going to start putting some butts in the seats on our school bus, on our investment team bus, ahead of when you need them. So let's move on. Now, I also want to just drive home the point. There is a hidden cost of going solo. If my story didn't scare you enough of like losing thousands of dollars and 3 years of tax penalties and a lot of time, if that didn't scare you to put the right, do the right due diligence on your investing team, I just want you to like understand there's other areas outside of tax. Okay. The right investing team will actually help you make money and protect that money. They'll help you produce wealth. Okay. If all you can see is the dollar signs of the check you write to hire your CPA or your lawyer, then maybe we don't have the right person on our bus. Maybe we need to find somebody else. All right. So without the right team, you risk making costly tax errors, maybe having a poor legal structure and asset exposure. Maybe you actually have missed investment opportunities because you just weren't clear. You were leaning so much on your lawyer to tell you if it was a good deal, or so much on your accountant to tell you if it was a good deal, that you didn't know if it was a good deal on your own. Or maybe you're just delaying your progress, or heaven forbid, if you're doing it all yourself, you're going to hit burnout. Okay, your investing team is not a nice to have. It is an unfair competitive advantage when it comes to investing. All right, so who are the 4 key players that we need to have on our investing team? Well, number 1, we need to have a financial expert. All right, we'll dive into who that is. It could be you, it could be somebody else. We need to have a legal expert, a tax expert, and if you're using retirement fund money, a retirement account expert. So let's dive into the financial expert. All right, so the financial expert is really going to help clarify your investing goals, help you understand your true risk tolerance, timeline, and strategy. Okay, they're going to analyze your current financial situation. They're going to help you set your investing goals according to what you want, why you want it, and what your investing timeline is, and also what kind of risk you're willing to take to hit that timeline. They're going to help you develop a plan to reach your goals, and they're going to help you monitor your progress over time and make necessary adjustments. Now, having this plan in place from the very beginning, and I will say this is where I see so many investors just skip. They want to like take their income, put it in investment, the plan will come together later, okay? Just giving even a couple hours thought of this ahead of making your first investment can be huge. And this is what I do a lot of my one-on-one coaching about, because we want to make, not only can the plan help us keep from chasing shiny objects, but also they'll help us keep us from getting into deals that don't align with our investing strategy. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This person you can hire out. Okay. You can maybe hire a fee only fiduciary. That's if I were to hire it out, that's how I would do it. Okay. Make sure this fee only fiduciary understands private placements. You can get a coach, you can get a mentor. Honestly, even if you just sat with these questions that I have here on the screen, or go back to our youtube.com channel and look up the videos I've done on how to create an investing plan, okay? Understanding your goals, risk, and timeline, that would give you so much headway on creating this investing plan that you could feel comfortable moving forward with your investing. All right, member number 2, the legal expert. Okay, the legal expert is going to be somebody who knows, private equity real estate. They can review a private placement memorandum and the operating agreement and all that comes with it. They're going to be able to set up any entity structures that you may or may not need, right? They'll give you good advice on that. And then they're going to give you advice on how to title your assets. Okay, how do you want to hold them? Do you want to hold them in your personal name, joint with a spouse, maybe open up an LLC? All right. And then if there's any sort of dispute with an investment, they'll be able to guide you on what to do next. All right. Now, this is one team member that I see a lot of investors try to skip. And even more so now with AI, people are trying to skip hiring a legal expert on their team, thinking it's too costly. Okay. That's not the thought process that we should have, because having a legal expert on your team will actually help you uncover the hidden risk of real estate, help you understand your exposure, right? So we talked about this in my last webinar. Okay, if you are a physician who does brain surgery, you're going to have one type of risk exposure versus a stay-at-home parent who works from the house. They're going to have a different type of risk exposure. Okay, so that legal expert can help you understand how to structure your assets. All right, and by doing so, structuring properly, reviewing the PPMs, they can potentially help keep you out of lawsuits. All right, so how are we going to do this? How are we going to find that legal expert? Well, we want to look for somebody who is versed in securities law. They've got expertise in the area. Preferably, they work on an hourly model. They're not going to put you in a retainer type program. And bonus points if they work collaboratively with an in-house tax team that fits your needs. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Okay, maybe you don't have an in-house tax team that pairs with your legal expert. That's totally fine. It is probably worth it one time a year to get both your legal and your tax on the same phone call at the same time with you. Okay. And then you can hammer out all your questions in one shot and make sure everybody's aligned. All right. So the next is your tax expert. Now, this could be a CPA that's versed in real estate. It can be an enrolled agent that is versed in real estate. But just because somebody's an accountant doesn't necessarily fit the bill. We want to make sure that they actually understand tax and that they actually understand real estate. Okay. So the tax expert is going to help you review your legal structures and make sure that they are maximized to minimize tax. That's why sometimes we want both of those guys on the phone at the same time. They're going to help you file your 1040, handle any Schedule C, Schedule E's with real estate, even your K1s, all right? But most importantly, when it comes to passive investing in real estate, they're going to help you maximize depreciation, accelerated depreciation, and 1031 exchanges in order to lower your tax liability. Why is that? Because what you keep matters almost as much, if not more, than how much you make. Okay. If we can keep more money in our pocket, we can create investment velocity. Okay. So, how do we do this? Well, one, we want to seek out a tax expert that is proactive in tax planning and tax strategy. Okay, not just somebody who can prepare a 1040 or a Schedule E. Okay, we want somebody who's a little more high level than that. We also want to make sure they've got a real estate background or work with real estate investors. Okay, one of the questions I always ask a tax professional is, how would they leverage depreciation? How would they leverage accelerated depreciation? Have they ever worked with cost segregation analyses? Have they ever worked with 1031 exchanges? Or if you're so blessed to be in a real estate professional status, are they okay doing that as well? We want somebody who's unafraid of leveraging ththose parts of the IRS tax code. Okay. And again, bonus if they collaborate with the legal group already. If not, we know what to do. Get them the legal and the tax on the same call one time a year. All right, this brings us to our fourth position, the retirement account expert. So what this person is doing, they're not actually helping us figure out how much to set aside for retirement. They can't do that. They are a custodian of our retirement account. So they're helping us understand what type of retirement account structure is best for our situation. Is it a Roth? Is it a tax account? Is it a solo 401k? Or is it some other type of tool? And they're going to make sure that our account stays compliant to the IRS. Okay. Doesn't matter if it's a solo 401k or a self-directed IRA, they're going to make sure we stay compliant with all of those filings. Okay. They are not giving investment advice beyond just helping us understand what, based on our goals, our risk, and our timeline, what might be the best account. Okay. So why we want to have a real quality retirement account expert is because if they match us to the right account, they can actually help us sidestep unrelated business income tax, okay, UFDI, maybe avoid some landmines with the IRS and penalties, right? So we want to search out a custodian that's strong real estate experience, okay? They've got a lot of investors that have open accounts with them that do real estate, so they understand what we're trying to do, okay? It's not something, outside their wheelhouse. We want to make sure they have very clear processes, a dedicated support team for you, and moreover, reasonable fee structure. Okay, we want to make sure it's reasonable, it's visible, and we understand what we're getting into ahead of time. Now, there is a bonus part to this. I like getting my retirement account expert on the phone with my accountant when I open the account. I want to make sure that we're aligned in what we're trying to do. Okay, it's not something that you have to get them on the phone every single year. It's up to you if you'd like to, but at least at that opening timeline, get those two calls, back to back, if not on the phone at the same time. All right, now you may be looking, at all of this and just seeing dollar signs like, oh my gosh, who do I need to find first? When do I need to find them? All right, here's the thing. You can build as you scale. You do not have to get all four of these team members at once. Okay. And again, our operator is the fifth team member, whether we're the operator or we are betting an operator. So I kind of broke this down into four different phases of either preparing to invest or investing. Okay, so if we're in the planning phase, okay, we want to make sure that we have thought about our financial and tax side of things. So, get a coach, get a mentor. Watch these videos, go back into our YouTube channel and pull up the videos that will help you create your financial plan. If you need to lock in somebody to help you with that, again, coaching, mentoring, maybe even a fee fiduciary financial planner. All right. Once you've got that in place, got your plan, now is the time to start pairing with a tax strategist to make sure that there's no other tweaks to our plan. Okay. What are the holes? What haven't we thought about here? Okay. When we start actually looking at deals, okay, this is, for certainly, we want to make sure that you are very well versed at that, okay, that you're up to speed, you've got your tools in place, and you're a vetting operator. If you're not the operator, then you're going to get somebody else, okay? Those are the two people on the team we need to educate. Once we start getting into the active investing phase, meaning we are really looking for a deal to go into, you're imminent about writing that check into the deal, this is a great time to make sure that you've got that legal person on your team, okay, that you've thought about how you're going to title the asset, any implications of like what kind of account it might go into. And if you're going to use retirement funds, that is a great time to find a custodian before you write the check, because one, you're going to have to structure the account appropriately. Two, you're going to have to fund it. And doing that, once you find an investment, you might find it taking 2, 3, 4 weeks to get your retirement account set up. But if we do that ahead of time, if you know you're on the cusp of finding an investment, add those 2 people to your team. All right, now we've got the scaling phase. Okay, this is where we can add additional team members to help us do more, create leverage. And maybe you hire a bookkeeper or bring on a piece of technology to help you with bookkeeping. Maybe you bring on a insurance provider to help you open up a whole life insurance policy so you can, create a little bit more investment velocity. Okay, maybe you just bring on a VA for admin. Right? So let's talk about how do we find these experts, okay? My favorite place is making sure that we're talking to other investors, okay? So that is going to be the best place. You're going to get the best referrals, okay? They're already going to have one-on-one experience. They're going to know who to trust already and what their work experience has been, okay? Another place is getting into high net worth investing groups. And the reason why I say high net worth investing groups, people that are already accredited, is because they've already scaled a little bit. Okay, so you're going to know who they're already using. They're not using their next door neighbor or the insurance agent down the street. They've already leveled up their team at least 1 or 2 times. So we can kind of like shortcut our path a little bit. All right, the next way that we can find team members is going to local meetups or even listening to podcasts and YouTube shows. Okay, now here's the thing. Sometimes meetups and podcasts make people pay to play. So there's a little bit of tilt on who's willing to get out there to do the most marketing or even have the most larger marketing budget to get in front of the crowd. So make sure you do really good due diligence, but that is a great way to find people. All right. You can also ask your operator. Now, there's a little caveat here. If you ask your operator, let's make sure that they're not getting a kickback, like a referral fee from making that recommendation. Okay. There's no harm or foul of anybody making any money, but if somebody's getting paid to make a recommendation, it may not be wholly aligned to who the best person is for you. All right, and then my last choice, but still very viable, is just doing a plain old web search. All right, again, that we will probably have to cycle back up to the top of the stack, talking to other investors, getting in high net worth groups to vet these people, but that is another viable way to do it. All right, so now that we understand what experts we need, why it's important that we have the team, how we can start finding them, I want to give you just like a quick little primer on how to do some high level vetting, okay? So again, we want to make sure that all these experts have a high level real estate specific experience and they can provide references, okay? We want to make sure that they have credentials, especially the tax, the legal, the custodian, right? We'll double check those credentials. Okay. I always suggest interviewing at least 2 to 3 people per role, okay, to make sure that you've found the one that's going to fit best to you. And then do a gut check. Do they really align with your personality and your style of investing? All right, we did talk a little bit about scaling your team, okay? Adding in that whole life insurance provider, adding in admin, right? When you start getting 20, 30, 40 passive investments, you might need a VA to help just create a spreadsheet of all the deal updates that you're getting and make sure maybe you need a bookkeeper to double check and reconcile your income coming in and all that sort of stuff, okay? But it's important to consider this. A lot of passive investors are like, "Ooh, my income's passive. I can't really write that off very readily." But really, what we're trying to do here is create leverage with your time. That way, you are not getting stuck in the complexities and you can free up your time to do more investing. All right, guys, we're about to wrap up today's session, but I just want you to understand what your next steps are. First, review the Dream Team framework and identify who you have on your team and who you need. Okay. Identify where you're at on your journey. Okay. That'll help you understand who do you need to have on your investing bus first. Okay. And then if you're in the process of leveling up your team, do a quick audit of your current investing team and make sure that you don't have any gaps. Okay. Meaning, oh, I've been using my childhood friend, who's a lawyer, to support me in my investing. Do I actually need somebody who knows about, securities law and real estate? Okay. And then, once you've got those first 3 steps, under your belt, make sure to ask at least 2 real estate investors or peers for a referral. All right, guys, this is your invitation to join me at passiveinvestingwithwhitney.com. There, we can talk about your investing goals. You can get access to additional educational materials, such as what we've gone over today. And then you also get priority access to our open deals.